Thank you, Kelly. It was an early and scary wake-up call for some people in Grand Rapids this morning as a truck ended up in their house on the city's northwest side. It happened around 1:30 at Sibley and Glen Haven Northwest. We're told, and as you can see there, that the truck slid on its side and then went into the house. The homeowners say they heard the noise, walked out, and saw tires in their dining room. The truck also went into the kitchen as well. The only person in the vehicle was the driver. They only had minor injuries. No word yet on how much damage was caused to the house. Grand Rapids police say alcohol might have played a part. Breaking now, we are continuing to follow a violent incident on the streets of Muskegon as shots ring out at the Elks Charity Club. At least 2 are dead, several more injured. Let's send it right out to Fox 17's Tim Swore, who's been covering this for us all morning long. Tim. President Obama says he has spoken on the phone with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. It's the first communication between U.S. and Iranian leaders since 1979.
Just now, I spoke on the phone with President Rouhani of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The two of us discussed our ongoing efforts to reach an agreement over Iran's nuclear program. I reiterated to President Rouhani what I said in New York. While there will surely be important obstacles to moving forward, and success is by no means guaranteed, I believe we can reach a comprehensive solution.
Mr. Obama said in his morning remarks earlier this week to the United Nations General Assembly that the United States was committed to preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, and he ordered Secretary of State John Kerry to begin talks with Iran. Iran, though, denies the West's allegations that its nuclear program is aimed at developing weapons. Thank you, Nicole. Also new this morning, a building has collapsed in Mumbai, India. The 5-story residential building, which according to reports was quite old, collapsed in the Indian financial hub early this morning, trapping an unknown number of people in the rubble. 8 people so far have been rescued. The first floor was rented out to a decorating firm, but there were more than 20 occupied apartments on the upper 4 floors. A West Michigan teacher will spend at least a year behind bars after having sex with a student. Mark Vogel held his wife's hand in court as a judge read his sentence yesterday. The sentence comes after he pleaded guilty to having a sexual relationship with a student about 6 years ago while he was teaching at Grand Rapids Christian High School. Vogel read an apology in court saying he accepted responsibility, but the judge didn't buy it. In addition to jail time, Vogel will have to pay court fines and register as a sex offender. We have a fraud alert for anybody planning on going out to dinner in Kent County. Police say there's a woman going around stealing credit cards and then racking up big bills. The Kent County Metropolitan Fraud and Identity Theft Team released this surveillance image of the suspect. They say she's targeting people who dine at upscale restaurants and rifles through purses, then takes credit cards. Afterwards, she goes to local stores and makes expensive purchases. It's happened at least 4 times in Grand Rapids, Kentwood, and other Kent County locations in the last couple of months. If you recognize this woman, call the Metro Fraud and Identity Theft Team, 616-530-7335. After more than 6 decades in business, the owners of Williams Furniture say they're closing the doors. Williams Furniture was founded in 1946 and has remained a family business since then. The company started its going out of business sale yesterday. The owners say economic strain, along with the recent recession, led to their decision. The store used to be on the corner of Alger and Division, but moved to 28th Street back in 1954. The owners say they plan on selling everything before closing the doors. NASA says its Curiosity rover has made another big discovery on Mars: water. In a report being published today, NASA scientists say water molecules were discovered bound to tiny soil particles. They say that means water molecules are likely to be found on the entire planet. There's not much, though, and researchers estimate the water molecules make up only 2% of the soil surface. Also new, a United Nations climate change report published today concludes that it is, quote, extremely likely that human activity accounts for at least half of the global warming that's been observed since the 1950s. The Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization says this past decade was the warmest on record. The report also predicts global temperatures will rise between 0.5 degree and 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit this century. That will lead to melting polar ice, which consequently will raise sea levels. 8:38 on this Friday. Now let's send it back to Mike and Sarah, who are live in New Salem at the worst festival ever, and they're having the best time ever. A special new baseball diamond is now open in Rockford, thanks in part to Art Van and other local businesses. The state-of-the-art Nate Hurwitz Field officially opened yesterday. It's part of the West Michigan Miracle League, which gives special needs kids the opportunity to have some fun playing baseball. Nate Hurwitz was a high school junior with muscular dystrophy who died unexpectedly last September. This new facility is named after him, and it has a rubber infield and outfield. And beyond getting the chance to play for the first time yesterday, dozens of kids also got jerseys with their names on them and a lifetime of memories created in just day one.
We're going to celebrate the donors, the people who've made this happen. We're going to celebrate the volunteers who are here to help the kids play. But it's about the kids, because today, for the first time, 40 kids who've never had a chance to play baseball are going to get a chance to play. And 40 kids who never had their own jersey with their name on their back got to put on a baseball jersey for the first time today. And grandpas and grandmas are seeing grandkids play for the first time. And what a special opportunity we have today to be able to share in that.
The field is part of the Art Van Sports Complex. It's at 3300 10 Mile Road. Been in the makings for about a year before finally opening up yesterday. Morning, Mike and Sarah. Still 3 games to go in the regular season, but those don't really matter. The Tigers have reached goal number 1, the playoffs. 3rd straight year they've won the division and made the postseason. First time they've made 3 straight playoff appearances since 1907 and 09. It was so long ago, you have to say ought. Here's how it happened in Minnesota last night. Austin Jackson leads the game off with a triple. Very next batter, Torrey Hunter, former Minnesota Twin, will go right up the middle and bring him in. That would be all the Tigers would need. Max Scherzer started a little slow, but was on his game. He struck out 5 of the first 6 batters he faced, then gets the nice strike him out, throw him out in the 5th. He would get win number 21 on the season as Joaquin Benoit would come in, and the Tigers bullpen actually closed it out. This time gets the K, and the celebration begins. When the team is celebrating, you know what the skipper's doing? Well, he's crying a little bit. We like this emotion from Jim Leland. Take a listen.
The expectations were so high, and it was almost like we were set up to fail. And you know, from day one of spring training, I told them, you know, don't get caught up in the expectations. Get caught up in how we're going to live up to those expectations. And I think that's what they've done.
It gets you every year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's great to see that.
Showing some emotion.
Such a gruff man,
Yeah.
but when they win, you see how much he cares.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So the Tigers now go to the division series. They're going to play either the Red Sox or the Oakland A's. Neither of those are really easy propositions. 4-3 against Boston this season, 3-4 against Oakland, including a series where they lost 3 of 4 just recently. The division series, no matter who or where they play, will be on October 4th. Those games are on TBS, and of course Fox 17 has the American League Championship Series and the World Series and all your Tiger coverage to get you ready for hopefully a run to the World Series. We called it unfinished business last year.
Yes, indeed.
It's got to be unfinished business again this year, doesn't it?
Part due.
Part 3 or 4. Go back to 06 and go back to the playoffs the year before. So we'll have some more celebration coming up in the 7 a.m. hour.
All right, Doty, thank you.
Well, if you couldn't stay up late last night to see all your high school highlights on the Blitz, we got you covered. Let's start with Belding and Comstock Park was our game of the week. Belding fired up for their big test at Panther Stadium. Early second, CP up 3-0. 4th and 1 on the Belding 17. Jake Bush heads left and tiptoes into the end zone. His 2nd straight game with a score on 4th and 1. 9-0 Panthers. Belding comes right back. Cole Hart, quarterback sneak, 15 yards, dives into the end zone, cuts the lead to 9-7. But Comstock Park would extend that lead again before the half. Bush 7 yards up the middle, 16-7 at the break. And in the 3rd, Belding gets the ball, driving deep into CP territory. 4th and 2 on the 9. Hart with the sneak. But the defense hold, Panthers take over, and a couple of plays later, they hand it to Bush, who starts up the middle, heads near sideline, and then a great cutback across the field. He's going to go 72 yards on the final play of the 3rd quarter to make it 23-7. Comstock Park beats Belding 30-7. Huge one on the Lakeshore. Unbeaten Mona Shores taking on Muskegon. Big Reds coming off their first loss of the season. 3rd quarter, 14-12 Muskegon when Javante Thomas takes it in from 3 yards out. It's 20-12 Big Reds. Later in the 3rd, Sailors Tyree Jackson to Asante Brown. Nice catch, 16 yards for the touchdown. Mona Shores is only down 2, so they go for 2. This time Jackson, pretty pass to Logan Smith, wide open. This game is tied up. 4th now, Big Reds. Deshaun Thrower finding Justin Foster, Oh my goodness, there's nobody within 5 yards of him. 53 yards for what would be the game winner. First loss for Mona Shores, big win for the Big Reds, 26-20. Rockford and West Ottawa is our blitz battle in the third. Rockford up 6-0. Jared McNitt going to find Tony Sock. This one's coming right into your living room, or at this point could be your bedroom. He is gone. That ties the game up. And on the kickoff, Tyler Bradfield is going to field the ball and go right up the middle. Bounces to the outside. He's got 4 men to beat, but you know what? They don't have an angle on him. He's gone. 13-6 Rockford in the lead. Later, after a defensive stop for the Panthers, this ball is mishandled. It is loose, and Rockford is on it. They would quickly convert on the Austin McKellar keeper. 20-6. Rockford goes on to win 20-13. Drake Harris still out for Grand Rapids Christian as they take on East Grand Rapids. 7-0 Pioneers, but that's when Tyler Sigler takes over. Second quarter, 4th and 18. 4th and 18. They're going for it. Sigler tucks, runs, reaches for the pylon, and he's in. This game is tied up at 7. Later, Sigler going to the air. No Drake Harris, no problem. We got Dwayne Barfield. He's coming at you. Barfield takes it down inside the East Grand Rapids 15. And a couple of plays later, it is Sigler on the keeper, forcing his way into the end zone. He had 3 touchdown runs on the night. Grand Rapids Christian beats East Grand Rapids 28-17. And the Battle of Portage, Northern and Central. Always a big crowd when these two get together. After all, they share McCamley Field. Central up by 14. Northern looking to change that. Preston Simon catches the ball, but it's going to pop out. And Central is there to get the ball back a few plays later. Ryan Mergener rolling out. He's going to pitch it to Jacob Allen, and Jacob Allen is going to do the rest. 33 yards for the score. This one is broken wide open. Portage Central winning the backyard battle 49-7. Those are your Blitz highlights. A motorcyclist is dead after a 2-vehicle accident just west of Dorr. A state trooper at the scene says around 7 p.m. a motorcyclist from the Dorr area was westbound on 142nd Avenue when he was hit by a car heading south on 26th Street. The driver of the car was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. The motorcyclist was pronounced dead at the scene. Some nearby roads had to be closed for several hours after that accident, and police are still looking into what led up to the crash, but say the bright setting sun may have played a part. The UN Security Council could vote as early as today on a draft resolution regarding Syria and its chemical weapons program. A resolution would create legally binding obligations on the Syrian government to get rid of that program. It would also force the government to destroy weapons and put in place consequences if they don't comply. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations says council members hope to vote today after a separate vote by the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. This all comes after an August 21st chemical weapons attack that killed Syrian civilians. Many world leaders are blaming the Syrian government for attacking its own people with those weapons. For the first time in more than 30 years, high-level officials from the U.S. and Iran came together yesterday for a meeting during the UN General Assembly. Secretary of State John Kerry met with Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif on Thursday. Both diplomats called their meeting constructive and touched on the possibility of restarting talks on Iran's nuclear program. Zarif made a presentation that laid out what he said the country's intentions are and its desire to reach agreements with other nations. A high-level meeting like this between the U.S. and Iran hasn't happened since 1979. As the possibility of a government shutdown approaches, the Senate is expected to vote and approve a spending bill for the government today, and they're expected to take out provisions that defund Obamacare. According to the New York Times, a series of votes will take place starting at 12:30 this afternoon. The bill will then head to the House, and Republicans have vowed to change it as they oppose measures that help the Obama administration put the Affordable Care Act into law. This all is in the midst of a potential government shutdown that would start on Tuesday. If that shutdown occurs, there will be impacts. The Postal Service would still deliver mail, and Social Security checks would likely go out on time, but non-essential government employees would be furloughed. And there are more delays when it comes to enrolling for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. The site was supposed to be up and running for enrollment by October 1st, but the Obama administration has pushed back online enrollment for small businesses to November 1st. Sources say people will still be able to enroll through paper applications or over the phone. As part of the Affordable Care Act, all Americans must carry health insurance by January 1st or face a tax penalty. Oktoberfest West Michigan starts this weekend. It's a celebration of German heritage with food, music, and, of course, beer. It's at John Ball Park in Grand Rapids. Tomorrow and Sunday goes from noon to 11 p.m. Admission and parking are free. There are a lot of activities for the kids as well as live music from German bands. If you show up and partake of that food and drink, you're paying it forward because proceeds go to Kids Food Basket of Grand Rapids. And don't forget, the worst festival ever is going on in New Salem. That's where Mike and Sarah are live at this morning. Tonight, it goes from 5 till midnight. Again, food, beer, and music. Tomorrow morning at 9, there's a bloodbath 5K run and obstacle course. Proceeds from that go to Michigan Blood. There's a family-friendly corn maze, and when the sun goes down, the witches come out, so look out for them. Let's now send it back to Mike and Sarah, who are live in New Salem at the worst festival ever. Good morning again.